And we are joined now by Trump campaign senior advisor Corey Lewandowski. Thanks so much for joining us, Corey.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So before we turn to politics, I want to continue on Hurricane Laura approaching the Gulf Coast and potentially having a devastating impact. Are there any plans to shift gears possibly for the convention in any way tomorrow night if this is really problematic, this storm?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of the president on any announcements, but I can tell you that he's been meeting with the officials from FEMA. He's been tracking this very closely. He's been talking to the elected officials in the states that are impacted. And so it is going to be a decision that the president makes. So I don't want to get ahead of that, but I can tell you he is very up to speed on all of the latest developments.
Understood. Okay. Now, the Trump campaign was critical of Joe Biden for not providing enough specifics on his plans in his convention speech last week. So looking ahead to tomorrow night, will the president outline a specific second-term agenda to the American people? And if so, anything you can give us a preview of?
Well, he will be outlining a specific agenda. First and foremost, he's going to remind the American people where our country was just 4 short years ago, the economic despair we had, our military, which was depleted, our friends around the world didn't respect us, and our allies didn't, and our enemies didn't fear us. He's going to talk about that and talk about how far we've come in just 4 years and what's at stake for the next 4 years. That next 4 years ahead of us is continued economic prosperity under Donald Trump, continuing to deregulate the federal government so small business owners can be successful, making sure that everyone has access to good quality health care. And again, I don't want to get too far out in front, but I can tell you it's going to be reminding the American people that America's greatest days are still in front of her.
Now, First Lady Melania Trump's speech was widely praised last night, especially for her acknowledgement of those who have been hit hard by COVID-19. The president has defended his response to the pandemic and pointed to things that he says that he did right. But would you say that he needs to do more to address or acknowledge why nearly 180,000 Americans have died in the U.S., far surpassing any other country?
Well, we are surpassing every other country. We're also doing much more testing. You know, we're testing more than anybody else. I think more than all of the other countries combined, the number of tests we've done. And this president has used the Defense Production Act to allow every American to have access to personal protective equipment, which, if we recall, wasn't that long ago. And this president said we have to have A, personal responsibility, and B, people should be wearing face masks everywhere they go. So the president has said one life lost is one life too many. But because of the swift actions of this president, specifically banning flights coming in from China, he saved American lives.
Well, he's also said it is what it is when talking about how many Americans have lost their lives to COVID-19. Do you feel that that was inappropriate to say?
Well, I think, look, the president, like every American, has known someone who has contracted the virus. We know that some of his friends have died from this COVID-19 virus. This is a very serious pandemic that's facing the globe. And because of the swift actions of the president, specifically, we closed down our government, not because we had an economic problem, but because we had an underlying health problem to flatten the curve. Remember, some of the experts told us that, it could be 1 to 2 million people who will have succumbed to this virus if we didn't do what the president did. So he's taken swift and decisive action on this.
Now, the president often touts his handling of the economy, but Democrats argued last week that the president inherited a growing economy with declining unemployment when he took office. And they point to this fact in particular, that in the last 3 years of the Obama administration, 8.1 million jobs were added, while in the first 3 years of the Trump administration, 6.6 million jobs were added. So would you say that the president can really claim that he did that much better when it comes to jobs before the pandemic than the Obama-Biden administration?
Well, you also have to remember the Biden-Obama administration claimed that they inherited a terrible economy from the previous administration, the George W. Bush administration. But the truth was, under this administration, the Trump administration, the lowest unemployment numbers for African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, and women ever recorded. More than that, there were more Americans working prior to the pandemic hitting our country than ever in our nation's history. This president has brought more people out of poverty in 3 years than Barack Obama did in 8. Many of them were children. And so, the numbers speak for themselves. The record stock markets, again, just today, I believe the NASDAQ hit another high. Our economy was booming, and the repatriation of jobs that had been offshore, 500,000 manufacturing jobs came back under this administration, where we know that under the previous administration, those jobs went overseas.
Now, Joe Biden also pointed his experience helping the economy recover from the Great Recession, including managing the auto industry's recovery. What specifically can the president point to showing that he can help manage getting the economy back on its feet from the current rate of double-digit unemployment?
Well, again, because of the president's desire to give people access to capital, the PPP program, which allowed many small business owners to keep their people employed, we've seen a V-shaped curve take place. 1.8 million new jobs have been added in just the last few months. And we were at the lowest unemployment rate our nation had ever seen. And we'll get back there. But you have to remember, we closed the economy. The president closed the economy to save American lives. And we're now seeing that economy coming back to life. And the truth is, small business owners, by and large, many of them have survived and kept people on the employment rolls because of the swift action of this president with the PPP program.
Now, lastly, a speaker from last night's convention, as you know, was removed at the last minute after she retweeted a QAnon thread that included anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. But at the same time, the president has invited GOP candidates who support the QAnon conspiracy theory to attend his speech tomorrow night, and he's welcomed the support of QAnon followers. Why is the president doing this, and does he need to directly reject the supporters of this conspiracy theory?
You know, I don't think the people care about QAnon. Most American people that I talk to don't even know what QAnon is. I think they care about the safety and security of their homes, their families, their businesses, getting their kids back to school and closing our borders, which is contrary to what the Democrats talked about for a week. The Democrats said they want open borders and closed schools. The Democrats want to defund the police, not defend them. The Democrats say that the men and women who serve on the thin blue line every day don't deserve the same respect of those who want to run through the streets and destroy police substations and hurt innocent men, women, and children. This president doesn't care about QAnon. What he does care about is the safety and security of Americans.
Corey Lewandowski, thank you so much for your time, especially during this busy week.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.